The wind greets you gently as you rise from the spiral. Its fingers cool now, laced with something softer than air, like memory or breath returned to the earth. The dune behind you has folded in, smooth once more, hiding all trace of the hollow chamber. It has become part of the silence again. But the silence feels different now. Less empty. More like a listening presence. You walk without choosing a direction. The desert moves with you, not as a path, but as an agreement. The sand no longer erases your steps. Instead, it cradles them, letting each print linger a moment longer than it should, as if the land itself is remembering you now. Ahead, the light shifts. The color of the sky turns from muted amber to a deeper brass, veined with blue. Something in the air has thickened, not with heat, but meaning. On the horizon, half drowned in wind and distance, rise the remains of a forgotten city. Its towers are not vertical. They lean as if listening. Its walls are etched with broken sigils, not words. Nothing here demands understanding. It simply exists to be witnessed. You reach the outskirts. Columns jut from the sand like the fingers of buried titans. Here and there, scraps of mural shimmer faintly, revealing fragments of beings too vast to name. Their eyes have no pupils. Their hands hold nothing, and yet they reach. A plaza opens before you, once sacred, still sacred. At its center stands an obelisk, cracked, dust-veiled, wrapped in tattered prayer cloth. Around it, stones arranged in a sevenfold spiral. Not precise, not clean, but deliberate. A memory ritual. You step forward and feel it before you hear it. A hum, low and resonant, like breath beneath stone. A figure appears, not rising, not entering, simply being there. It stands at the far side of the spiral, hooded like you, cloaked in ash gray, its face hidden in a void so deep it draws the air inward. It mirrors you, not in detail, but in presence. You do not speak, and neither does it, but you understand. This is not a guardian, not a reflection. It is the memory of you that the desert kept safe, and it has been waiting. You move toward the figure, each step a ripple in the stillness. The spiral of stones hums beneath your feet. Not sound exactly, resonance, a vibration of things unspoken. You are not sure when you cross its boundary, only that the air grows heavier, like stepping into the gravity of something sacred. The hooded figure mirrors your motion. It kneels as you kneel. It raises no hand. It opens no mouth. But from within the folds of its cloak, something rises. An object shaped like a vessel, carved from translucent ash glass, its surface marked with subtle etchings that glint like dried salt and tears. You recognize it, or rather, your soul does. It is the memory you left behind. The figure holds it out without offering. It is not a gift. It is a return. You reach for it, and as your fingers close around the vessel, you feel the weight of what it carries. Emotions, shapes, choices, a name that was almost yours. The desert has kept you whole by letting you forget. Now it asks if you are ready to remember. The vessel pulses, not light, not heat, but truth. And your answer is not yes or no. You simply breathe, and everything begins to glow. You move toward the figure, each step a ripple in the stillness. The spiral of stones hums beneath your feet. Not sound exactly, resonance, a vibration of things unspoken. You are not sure when you cross its boundary, only that the air grows heavier, like stepping into the gravity of something sacred. The hooded figure mirrors your motion. It kneels as you kneel. It raises no hand. It opens no mouth. But from within the folds of its cloak, something rises. An object shaped like a vessel, carved from translucent ash glass, its surface marked with subtle etchings that glint like dried salt and tears. You recognize it, or rather your soul does. It is the memory you left behind. The figure holds it out without offering. It is not a gift. It is a return. You reach for it, and as your fingers close around the vessel, you feel the weight of what it carries. Emotions, shapes, choices, a name that was almost yours. The desert has kept you whole by letting you forget. Now it asks if you are ready to remember. The vessel pulses, not light, not heat, but truth. And your answer is not yes or no. You simply breathe, and everything begins to glow. The glow is not bright. It does not blind. It spills instead like oil, slow and dense, turning the dust gold, casting every surface in reverence. The stone around you shimmer faintly. The sigils you could not read now hum with quiet memory. They do not explain. They remind. Your hand tightens around the vessel, not to keep it, but to steady yourself. Something begins to unfold inside you. Not a scene, not a dream, more like a layering of sensations long buried. Rain on ancient stone, the scent of burned figs and bitter honey. A child's voice calling a name you don't quite remember. A robe you once wore, woven with copper thread. A promise you whispered into the sand. You look up, the figure still kneels. But now the folds of its cloak fall differently. Looser, less defined. Light clings to its edges. Its shape begins to dissolve, not disappear, as if it was only ever waiting to be returned to you. You rise. The obelisk beside you groans softly. From deep within its fractured form, a line of pale flame emerges. Neither fire nor light, but presence. It arches up and touches the tip of the obelisk. A resonance surges outward. The spiral of stones vibrates. The sand lifts, and something begins to sing, not with voice, not with notes, but with memory. Your memory. And the city, the one buried under the centuries, begins to wake. Not in body, but in breath. You hear doorways groan open. You feel columns straighten by a hair's width. The murals once eroded show fresh pigment, moment by moment, like color returning to a dream. This is not restoration. It is remembrance. And the traveler, yourself, has become both witness and answer. The vessel you hold softens. You glance down to find it melting into your hand, its substance turning to a faint mist that sinks into your skin, like a story re-entering the page it came from. you do not feel power. You feel weight and peace. The figure is gone, but not lost. It was never separate from you. Around you, the desert listens. Above, the sky brightens, but only slightly. A new light. Not dawn, not day. Something older, something returning. You step beyond the spiral, but this time the sand does not shift beneath your feet. It feels solid now, reverent. The world has taken your memory back into itself, and in return, granted you form. Not armor, not glory, just presence, just clarity. The plaza behind you begins to blur, not disappear, but soften, like something being wrapped and folded into safekeeping. The obelisk no longer hums. The murals, once alive, have quieted. The city has exhaled. Before you, a narrow path opens through the dunes. Not a trail carved by travelers, but one made by meaning. You walk it without doubt. Each step is guided not by thought, but by memory's gravity. The sand darkens slightly beneath your soles, as though the desert is lighting your way in reverse. You pass through an arch, half-crumbled, vine-wrapped, etched with unreadable runes. The shadow it casts is longer than it should be, as though time stretches differently here. Beneath it, you pause. The air tastes of something both burnt and sweet, like incense ground into soil. The moment holds. And then you are moving again. Ahead, the dunes begin to rise into hills. The color of the sand shifts, gold to ochre, then to something with a faint violet tinge. In the valley between them, you see a grove, not of trees, of pillars, dozens, maybe more, each unique, each made from a different kind of stone. Some translucent, some dark as midnight, others veined with metal that glows faintly beneath the surface. This is not a place for answers. This is a place for remembering how to ask. You enter the grove. The wind hushes, not out of fear, out of respect. The pillars make no sound, yet they seem to breathe, each exhaling a different scent. Salt, ash, citrus, old scrolls. You reach the center. There, a shallow basin carved into the ground, filled not with water, but with light. Cool, moon-pale, rippling like thought. You kneel. Your reflection appears, not your face, but a layered history of yourself. Silhouettes overlapping, some familiar, some strange. In one, you are a child. In another, cloaked in feathers. In another, you wear no shape at all. The wind stirs again, and from between the pillars, a low chime. Not metallic, not voice, more like memory catching light. You realize this is where names are born, and this is where yours will awaken. You do not rush the moment. The basin before you is quiet, its light cool and pulsing, as if reacting to your presence. You lean closer, not to see yourself, but to listen. The ripple patterns flicker with inner rhythms, like a heart remembering how to beat. No voice speaks, yet the air feels full of guidance. You breathe slowly, deeply, until you notice the light shifting. The silhouettes in the basin begin to move. Each one takes a step forward. They do not merge into you, they encircle you. Past selves, possible selves, memory selves. One carries a satchel of sand and salt. Another has skin covered in ink and whispers. A third wears a woven shroud that flutters with the breath of prayer. They do not speak, but you feel what they hold. Pieces, not truths, not facts, but essences of who you have been when your name changed with time. The child who asked why stars flicker, the keeper of wind songs in a city carved from silence, the traveler who once bowed before a god made of broken mirrors. Oneself kneels across from you. It holds your gaze, the others fade. It is not older or younger, but whole. It lifts a hand, and in the palm rests a single glyph. Not etched, not painted, formed from gathered memory. The glyph floats. You do not read it with your eyes. You recognize it with your breath, and then, gently, it drifts downward into your chest. You feel its warmth, like a coal long banked, now beginning to glow. It does not blaze. It steadies, and with it, a whisper inside you. Your name, not the one you were given, the one you remembered. The basin dims. The grove of pillars shimmers briefly, then quiets. The scents are gone. Only the wind remains, still reverent. You stand. Something in you has settled. Not because you found something, but because something found you. You turn from the basin and begin walking. The path ahead is still dust and silence, but it welcomes you now. Not because of who you were, but because of what you carry. A name, a memory, a belonging. You do not look back. The wind carries your name now, and the desert knows it. Somewhere in the distance, a low bell tone trembles across the dunes. It doesn't echo. It unfolds. Like an old thought returning, you pause. Listen. The ground beneath your feet is warm, alive. The sand shifts with familiarity, not instability. And the pillars behind you do not disappear. They remain, like sentinels, like echoes, like blessings. You pass a stone partially buried, etched with a spiral unlike the others. This one opens inward, endlessly. You recognize it not with the mind, but in the skin, the marrow. A spiral that once guided you here, and may again. The sky above has deepened. Not darker, not lighter, truer. Hints of violet and copper stain the edges. One star lingers longer than the rest. Watching, you walk toward a ridge veiled by blowing sand. Shapes flicker. Ruins, perhaps, or memories not yet formed. What you see may not yet exist, but the desert has always allowed the future to arrive slowly. In your palm, a faint warmth remains. The glyph within you does not fade. It roots. You whisper something, not in any known tongue, but the wind answers as if it understands. Perhaps it always did, and the hush that follows is not emptiness. It is invitation. You crest the next ridge with sand curling at your heels like trailing incense. The wind shifts gently, revealing a shallow basin below, not carved, not built, but revealed. As though the desert once folded back its skin and left this place open to the sky. You descend with care. The silence here is deeper than the others. Not emptiness, but attendance. As if something ancient still kneels here, unseen, head bowed. The basin's center holds no structure, no stone, just a patch of sand disturbed, darker than the rest. Your footsteps slow. You circle it once, then lower yourself into a kneeling posture beside it, the way one kneels at a grave or altar or birth. In the center of the disturbed sand lies a second vessel. It is smaller than the first, made not of ash glass but something older. Bone, perhaps, or sun-hardened ivory. Its surface is etched with curls like breath, like the swirl left in smoke after prayer. You do not reach for it. You wait. The air around you grows warm, humming with unseen presence. Something shifts beneath the sand, like breath beneath a woven mat. The vessel begins to glow softly from within. Not bright, more like the ember of a thought reigniting. You close your eyes. The darkness is not empty. There is a voice, not words, but tone. Deep, resonant, loving, and vast. It is not speaking to you. It is remembering you aloud. You feel it name you, not with language, but with belonging. And then, as if the air itself were holding out its hands, the vessel lifts. It floats between you and the sky, humming in rhythm with your pulse. This is not a return. It is an offering, but you do not take it. You open your hands and let it settle into them. The weight is slight and infinite. It speaks into your skin, and the message is clear. This is not the end of the story. This is the moment it begins to echo. Around you, the sand ripples outward. The basin does not fill in. It expands, as if the earth is unfolding to receive your memory, your name, your return. You look up. A figure now stands at the edge of the basin, distant yet clear. Not cloaked like the others. This one wears the desert openly, sand-colored skin, wind-braided hair, eyes deep as forgotten wells. It raises a hand, and though no word is spoken, the meaning is undeniable. Welcome, come further, come home. You rise without thought, as though the motion belongs to the basin, not to you. The vessel in your hands no longer hums. It listens. It cradles something sacred, and you are now its bearer. A keeper of memory, shaped by silence. The wind has quieted again. Not gone, just waiting. You make your way toward the figure, each step threading between stillness and becoming. The sand does not shift or resist. It carries. It remembers your feet from lifetimes past. The figure does not move as you approach, but its presence grows. Not larger, deeper, like standing before the first idea of what it means to be known. They lower their hand only when you reach them, and then you see the face, not male, not female, not young or old. Their features shift with each breath, like a story told in multiple voices, all true. Their eyes hold storms and starlight, and something else. Reflection. You see yourself not as you are, but as you've always been. The vessel in your hands glows faintly. You offer it without a word. The figure does not take it. Instead, they raise a mirror. Oval, weathered, rimmed in dull gold. Its surface is not glass, but polished volcanic stone. Black, rippling like a calm lake. You look into it. You see the desert, not behind you, not around you, but inside you. Dunes curling like calligraphy. Cities sleeping beneath glass. Altars of bone and breath. Echoes of names not yet spoken. And a god, not a figure on a throne, a presence, shaped like devotion, like exile, like hope held so long it became light. It looks through you, and for the first time, you understand. It has never been waiting to be found. It was waiting to be remembered. The figure before you lowers the mirror. You nod. The vessel dissolves. Not into dust, but into starlight. It lifts around you, then drifts upward, joining the twilight sky like a returning word. The figure steps aside. Behind them, a new path opens, framed by twin columns of faded basalt, etched with glyphs that shimmer faintly, like they've just remembered how to glow. You step through, not to leave the desert, to re-enter it, not to begin a journey, to continue one. The air ahead smells of wind-blown resin and star-warmed stone, and the wind, at last, speaks not in whispers, but in your voice. The columns do not tower. They do not impress. They stand like quiet elders, weathered but resolute. You pass between them as through memory itself. On the other side, the landscape spreads out, not harsh, not barren, but vast and full of breath. This is not wilderness. This is sanctuary. The sand underfoot softens, holding the warmth of all those who walked before. Your shadow follows, but lighter now. Like it, too, has remembered how to belong. You walk. Time folds again. Not forward or back, but inward. The dunes bend like pages in an unread book. You begin to feel the stories beneath your feet, buried not as corpses, but as seeds. In the distance, you glimpse a ruin, not dead, but dormant. A once city, sculpted from sunstone and memory. Its walls are low now, embraced by sand and time, but you feel no sorrow. It was never meant to last in form, only in meaning. You enter its edge. The stones greet you, warm and breathing. Small glyphs mark the lintels, simple, worn, but familiar. They don't need to be deciphered. They simply are. They say, "We are still here." You follow the winding way to a central space, a courtyard of wind and whisper. In its center lies a circle of crushed shell, pale and glinting like a spill of forgotten moonlight. You sit beside it. The hush that follows feels like a question answered. Your hands touch the shell fragments. They're delicate, ancient, but they do not crumble. They hold, and as your fingers move among them, you begin to find patterns, not laid out by hand, but grown. Swirls, constellations, fragments of language written by tide and time. You close your eyes. The courtyard breathes in, and the stories bloom. They do not tell you what happened. They remind you of what always was. In the stillness, a presence settles beside you. You do not look. You do not need to. It places no hand on your shoulder, no crown on your head, only its breath beside yours. And you understand. This has never been about worship. It has always been about remembrance. The sand beneath you shifts slightly, not in warning, but in welcome. Like the desert knows you're ready for the next story, one that cannot be told aloud. You rise again. The city whispers around you, not in words, but in movement. A curtain stirs in a window with no walls. A door creaks open, though no one passes through. Shadows flicker, not cast by light, but by memory itself. You follow them. A narrow passage guides you between two low walls. On each, murals half lost to time stretch and breathe in the golden light. You see a figure repeated again and again, sometimes cloaked in feathers, sometimes bare, their chest aglow with fire, sometimes kneeling beside a black jackal. It is not the same figure. It is the same story, one of return, one of forgetting, then remembering, one of silence, honored and shared. You trace a section of the mural with your fingertips. The paint flakes, but the stone beneath is warm, alive, as if it recognizes the pressure of your hand. You press your palm flat against it. A vision opens, swift, soft, uncommanded. You stand on a cliff of wind-carved glass. Below, a procession winds through the sand, their faces veiled, their hands glowing with golden pigment. They carry no weapons, only offerings, veils, feathers, bowls of salt. A voice hums through the air. We do not conquer. We remember. You blink. The vision fades. The mural remains. You walk on, and the walls fall away. Ahead, a garden of stone. Pillars shaped like trees. Leaves made of shattered glass. Roots etched into the ground. At its center, a pool of shadow. Not darkness, shadow. Cool, protective, deep as a god's inhale. You sit beside it, no reflection, just the feeling of being seen. A low chime vibrates from the earth. Not a call, an agreement. You rest your hand above the shadow. It meets you halfway. A glyph forms in the air between your fingers and the pool. You don't read it. You remember it. And in doing so, it dissolves into warmth, into knowing, into the hush that follows names. The garden does not vanish. It simply lets go of form, and you walk forward, carrying the memory as if it were breath, the wind gathers behind you, gentle, steady, like a hand at your back. It guides you through the dissolving shapes of the garden. You step lightly over roots made of memory, past leaves that shimmer like fragments of lost speech. The path becomes smooth, lined with soft ridges of wind-folded sand. Each ridge holds traces of steps, some fresh, some ancient, some your own from lifetimes half remembered. Still, you trust them. The sky above glows with the color of waiting. Neither dawn nor dusk. That in-between hour when the sun hesitates, letting the stars breathe. You arrive at a rise in the earth. There, embedded in the sand, is a door, not one that leads down, one that opens upward. It is framed in gold-veined stone, the color of old prayer. Around it spiral tiny carvings, glyphs and beasts, star maps and symbols too old to name. You place your hand at the center, where a shallow depression pulses beneath your touch. You don't push, you remember, and the door exhales. It opens, not by movement, but by recognition. It doesn't shift, it vanishes. Beyond it, a stairway made of glass and dust winds into sheltering shadow. You climb. Each step shimmers beneath your feet, responding to your weight like a memory answering to its name. Midway up, you pause. Below, the desert unfurls like a tapestry stitched from breath and forgetting. You see lines where rivers once ran, shapes of cities now buried, flickers of light, perhaps fire, perhaps prayer. You continue. At the top, there is no room, no throne, no altar, just a circle of wind. It surrounds you, cool and slow. In it, feathers, ash, salt, and fragments of song. You step into the center and sit. The wind wraps around you, neither cold nor warm. Precisely the temperature of truth. Your eyes close, yet nothing fades. Inward you move, not falling, not rising, simply arriving. A voice stirs, not beside you, not above or below. Inside you, it says only, now, and the air blooms with gold. The gold drifts around you in delicate spirals, soft as breath. It does not fall. It weaves. Every thread glows with something both ancient and immediate, like the voice of someone you forgot you loved, speaking your true name. You remain still. Time, as it has many times before, ceases to measure. The wind rises gently within the circle. From it come shapes, figures formed not from flesh, but from story. They shimmer like heat, defined only by meaning. One kneels before you, bearing a bowl made of shell and night. Inside, a single feather, blue at the tip, threaded with gold. Another stands behind, holding a veil that ripples even without wind. It's translucent, edged with patterns you don't recognize but understand. A third hums, a sound like breath turned to memory. They do not ask, they remember, and so do you. You rise to your knees. The feather is placed gently in your hand, weightless but present. The veil is drawn across your shoulders, cool, then warm, then still. You close your eyes. The hum becomes your heartbeat, and you speak, not aloud, but into the space where silence listens. You say a name that has no vowels, only memory. The name is not for you. It is for the God you once carried and forgot. The veil responds. It brightens. The circle expands. Now the wind lifts you, not upward, but inward. The gold turns to breath, the breath to song, and you move through the sky, which is not sky, through the silence, which is not silence, through the God, who is not a God, but the echo of every offering ever made in love. You pass through it and arrive in yourself. There is no ceremony, no coronation, no declaration, just breath, just presence, just truth. You open your eyes. The veil is gone. The feather is not in your hand. It is in your chest, and the circle has become horizon. There is no center now, only the path ahead, and it glows. The horizon does not stretch. It breathes. Faint lines shimmer where sand meets sky, not as barriers, but as invitations. Each step forward feels like turning a page written in warmth. You walk. The light is gentler now, no longer gold, but something softer, between ochre and ash. It doesn't blind. It reveals. The dunes ahead ripple like muscle beneath skin. They carry you, not physically, but in meaning. At the edge of a ridge, you pause. Below, a circle of stones, smooth, dark, arranged in a spiral that curves inward toward a single basin carved into the earth. You descend without effort, your footsteps held by the sand. The wind hushes, as if yielding to the moment. In the basin lies a book, not made of paper. Its pages are stitched from bark and linen, its spine bound in woven root. There is no title, only a symbol carved into its cover. A spiral within a seed, circled by glyphs so faded they seem whispered. You kneel. The book does not resist. It opens at your touch, fluttering softly, as though recognizing your hands. The pages are blank, yet as you turn them, shapes begin to rise. Images drawn not in ink, but in memory. You see places, names, moments too old to be personal, yet too tender to be distant. You keep turning. One page shimmers brighter than the others. It shows you, hooded, standing at the edge of the basin, gazing skyward, light pulsing from your chest. The moment is not prophecy. It is now. You look up. The sky above the circle glows with the same light as the page. Pale, rhythmic, alive. You close the book, not to end something, to protect it. You place it back into the basin and rise. A sound stirs nearby, gentle like the turning of sand beneath a careful step. A figure approaches, Their cloak is tattered, stitched from veils and wind. You do not fear them. They kneel beside the book. They do not look at you. They place a feather on the cover, and then, without speaking, they dissolve. Not into wind, not into dust, into memory. You bow, not from custom, but reverence, and walk once more toward the horizon. The sky deepens, the sand darkens, but you carry light. The sand cools beneath your steps, whispering its own rhythm. Familiar, steady, like breath meeting earth. You follow the curve of the land as it slopes gently upward, toward a ring of stones half submerged in drifting dunes. Each stone is carved with symbols you recognize, though you've never seen them. Their shapes echo the dream glyphs once felt beneath your fingers, long ago, or perhaps moments before. They hum softly as you pass, tuning the air like a string pulled taut with memory. At the center of the ring stands a single pillar, not tall, not grand, just resolute. Upon it, a shallow bowl made of volcanic glass, smooth and black as stilled thought. You approach it slowly. Within the bowl lies a handful of sand, finer than any you've seen. It glows faintly, each grain a flicker of story. Some sparkle bright as starlight, others dim like a whisper swallowed by time. You extend your hand and touch the sand. It reacts, not by moving, but by remembering. Visions come gently. A procession of travelers walking beneath mirrored skies. A child singing a name to the stars. A temple of wind and salt where prayers rose like vapor. You see them all, and yet they do not overwhelm. They fold into you like soft cloth, layer upon layer of who you've been. Then a name, not yours, but familiar. A name spoken in a language made of warmth and wind. You echo it, and the bowl responds. The sand lifts slightly, curling upward like breath made visible. It does not swirl. It settles upon your palm. It does not burn. It marks. A faint spiral now glows beneath your skin, just above your wrist. The shape hums faintly, in time with your pulse. You close your eyes. The world hushes, reverent again. When you open them, the stones have shifted. The ring is no longer a ring. It's a path, a corridor of stone and sand, narrowing ahead, where the light deepens to amber. You step forward, your marked wrist warm with meaning, and the wind, familiar, sacred, follows. The corridor narrows, walls rising on either side, not built, but revealed. Carved by wind and time, their surfaces are layered with fragments of script, spirals of thought etched into sandstone. Each line seems to breathe as you pass. Your wrist tingles where the mark glows faintly, not as a warning, as a key. The air here thickens, not heavy but full, like a chamber filled with low music you can't quite hear, only feel. At the corridor's end stands an archway of twisted stone, jagged, beautiful, like flame caught in stillness. Hanging from its peak is a pendant of copper and glass, spinning slowly in no wind. You step beneath it. The pendant stills, and the walls around you open, not outward, but inward, revealing a chamber shaped like a spiral shell. Each curve houses something different. Bones painted with story ink, bowls of dried herbs, feathers dark with age, scraps of cloth threaded with starlight, and carved miniatures of sacred beasts, one with wings like woven mist, another with 3 eyes closed in dream. You walk the spiral path. The scent is ancient. Sandalwood, ash, old milk, rose. You feel the silence listening. At the center is a mirror, not reflective, not smooth. Its surface is mist and memory, clouded and deep. You stand before it. You do not see yourself. You see the eyes of every face you've worn, the hands that shaped prayers you've long forgotten, the feet that walked paths you've only just begun. Behind them flicker silhouettes, mythical beings, a jackal-faced watcher, a serpent with celestial glyphs along its spine, a horned figure whose form shifts with each blink. The mirror shifts. Now, the god. Not a figure, a presence, shadow and radiance, hollow and whole. It does not speak. It waits. You extend your marked wrist. The glow pulses once. The mirror answers. A thin thread of light reaches out, curved, hesitant, like breath meeting breath. It touches the spiral on your skin. The mark vanishes. You do not feel loss. You feel release. The spiral chamber dissolves, not into darkness, but into openness. You are outside again. The dunes stretch wide beneath an indigo sky, and the stars above throb with slow, patient recognition. Above one dune, a beast-shaped cloud drifts, its form echoing the winged sentinel from the chamber. The wind lifts behind you, curious again, like it wishes to know who you have become, and you begin to walk, not forward, but deeper. The night desert breathes with you. Dunes inhale and exhale in silence, their contours catching the faint blue of starlight like water held in still stone. As you walk, your steps leave no trail, yet something in the earth remembers. The wind no longer whispers. It carries resonance, voices shaped from memory and sand. Each gust brushes your skin with warmth and echo, like being greeted in a language older than breath. Ahead, the ground flattens into a wide basin of blackened sand. Shards of forgotten altars rise from it like broken teeth, their surfaces etched with deep glyphs glowing amber from within. Smoke coils upward, thin and serpentine, vanishing into the vault of stars. You approach slowly. In the center, a fire burns without flame. A pulse of orange light rising from a ring of relics. Bone fragments, twisted metal, glass shaped by ancient heat. The heat isn't harsh. It is steady, like a memory held close to the chest. You kneel near the light, feeling it seep into your hands. The basin hums with a low tone, like a buried choir calling from beneath the surface. It presses into you, not with force, but with welcome. Your wrist tingles where the mark had been. The spiral, now a warmth felt deep within your bones. Shapes stir around the basin's edge, not figures, not fully. Hints of form, veiled in shifting air. One has the outline of a beast with 7 wings folded against its spine. Another stands tall, its limbs too many to count, each one holding a different object. A mirror, a root, a shard of moonlight. They do not advance. They regard you, and in that gaze is something close to kinship. You lower your head. The fire flares. Your shadow stretches outward, long, reaching, merging with the others. Where they meet, the ground shimmers. Symbols bloom like flowers, etched into the earth by heat and reverence. From them rises a sound, layered, tonal, vast. It draws the air inward and exhales it as vibration. A story is being told, not in words, but in presence, and you listen. The ground beneath you pulses again, slow and steady. Your hands rest on the sand, and it feels alive. Each grain a breath, a whisper, a witness. You close your eyes, and the world turns inward. In that stillness, the memory of something lost flickers into shape. Not an event, but a truth. The God you once knew had no name because its name was made of silence, shared only in gesture, in gaze, in gift. You remember the gift. The fire's glow intensifies. The basin radiates, and with it, the scent of cedar and bloodroot. A new shape forms within the flame. Not a being, but a bond. A strand of golden vapor rises, stretching toward you. You reach for it. It weaves around your fingers like silk, drawing warmth into your chest. You feel it settle, not as possession, but as return, and in that moment, the basin quiets. The watchers fade into the starlit wind, their forms breaking into light, their presence now within you. You rise. The sky is darker, deeper. The horizon pulses with hints of violet and gold, colors that do not belong to morning or night. And ahead, where the fire once burned, a path has appeared. It curves upward, shaped like a question. Inviting, not demanding. You begin again, not seeking, becoming. The path curves with gentle defiance, carved not by foot or tool, but by something remembering how to move forward. You step into its arc, feeling the earth shift just slightly under your feet, like breath adjusting to your presence. Stone outcroppings rise like ribs from the sand, framing the way ahead. Each one carries subtle marks, etched lines too smooth for erosion, too curved for script. They shimmer faintly, blue-white against the gold-hued ground, catching the desert's last dreamlight. You pause at one. Place your hand upon it. The warmth flows into your skin, not heat, memory. It tells you of a time before the sky cracked, when wind carried songs between cities now swallowed by silence, and you walk on, The sky above turns darker, a deep violet brushed with copper where the stars pulse slowly into view. Their light feels deliberate, as though watching. Ahead, a low rise begins to form. Upon its crest stands an arch, neither grand nor ruined. Simple, enduring. Its sides are rooted in stone, but its keystone hovers, suspended by tension and ritual. You reach it. Beneath the arch, the wind halts. Not absence, attention. In the stillness, you feel the echo of every step you've taken, the dust of offerings left behind, the reverence carried in breath. You stand, centered beneath the arch, and something inside you softens. The air thickens, not heavy but sacred. From beyond the arch, light shifts. It does not brighten. It reveals. Figures step forward, slow and luminous. Not people, not entirely. Each is cloaked in memory stuff, woven from wind, salt, and feather. Their eyes glow dimly, not with power, but with patience. One approaches, offering a small vessel. It is rough, carved from bone or shell, you can't tell. Inside, a single drop of liquid, shimmering like twilight. You do not ask, you receive. The drop touches your lips and becomes breath. A hush settles. The vessel dissolves. Another figure lifts its hand. Not in command, in blessing. A faint warmth pulses along your spine. Your limbs feel light, as though your body has forgotten to carry weight. You bow, not in submission, in gratitude. Then the arch behind you shifts, not in stone, but in meaning. It has become a gate. You pass through. The figures fade. The air returns to motion. The sand sighs beneath your step. You are alone again, and yet accompanied.